Yeah.
Guess who's back? Back again. What's up?
Good night, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome back to Lie to Yourself.
I have a brown one.
Y'all, Crystle was out here giving off a show. Lord,
luckily I caught it.
That's what you've known for so long. And for me, like a person like me who's been in a relationship for such a long time, even though I didn't realize how toxic it was until the end. So y'all are gonna think I'm super weird, okay? Fun fact, Lady J is real weird about her food, okay? For my whole entire life, I was like, white sauce does not belong on spaghetti, and chicken definitely don't belong in those spaghetti. No, I grew up, for real, listen, I'll just text real quick, and I'm gonna just, hey, how you been? How's work?
I love food. I won't call myself a foodie, but Lady J, I am like an experienced girl, right?
Okay.
The plating matters to me, right? If I go somewhere,
good morning, good night, good evening, wherever you are. I'm sorry, y'all. Every time I'm still so tickled every time I see the intro. Forgive me. Welcome to Lie to Yourself, Not to Me. Real Talk with Miss Lady J. Thank y'all for joining us again this Friday evening. I want to go ahead and bring in, did it at the right time this time. Want to introduce my co-host Crystle and my friend. Hello, lady. How are you? How are you doing?
awesome sauce. Plating matters.
Facts. Yo, every time I see that, I swear I giggle inside because I'm just like, because I really feel that way. Like plating matters. Miss Lady, how have you been? How's your week? We always got to do like this catch up of how you been. How we been doing?
Today was Facial Friday.
Oh,
I went and got a facial today. My lady, she is a guru. Oh my. But she sent me. You ever go to the dentist and get like a dentist doggy bag where you get all this cool
toothbrush
stuff
and all that stuff?
Yeah, she sent me away and was like, "Yeah, I left some iPads in there. The aloe iPads for your eyes. They're great for bags." And I was just like, "Are you trying to tell me something, lady? Like, now I know I have bags, but dang, my lady gave me a goodie bag of bag healing.
She hits you with that like backhanded like. So by the way, I don't want to say to you, but your bags are a little bit ferocious right now, and I don't want to tell you that, but here's some goodies. She did.
So I'm going to increase my water intake and have some more vegetables this week because I'm stressing over here. Like my facial lady told me I had bags. But anyway, so my week was great. I have a story to tell, guys.
Oh, story time. Y'all know I like it on y'all. My TikTok folks, y'all know what time it is. It's story time. Crystle got stories for me.
I'm officially back on the market.
Whoa! Wait, what?
Well, I was always on the market, but we were kicking it. Me and so.
Wait, hold on. So for those of y'all that's new, we got to break this down a little bit. Okay, so Crystle been kind of single for like a while, whatever, right? But then she had 5 years, right? So then she had kind of found her like a boo, not boo, possible boo, could be boo. Mm-hmm. Now she's single. They just had after Valentine's Day. What the world?
Hey, Demetrius.
Hey, Tony, how are you?
It's been going so well. And the reason why I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like, at least news, right? Because he was consistency. He had all like the things that I was looking for. And the biggest thing for me was, to be honest, I don't know if I ever shared this live on the show. I felt like I met someone who checked all these boxes, right? Like, not that the boxes are like have to be, but we'll just say that he checked a lot of boxes.
Okay.
But like, I'm on a podcast with Lady J called Lie to Yourself, Not to Me. Okay, it's no surprise that hey, relationship gumbo, maybe he can help me out. It's no surprise that like I'm an opinionated woman, right? Like I spend a lot of my time blogging and talking on podcasts. So like I have opinions about things, right? Yeah. And sometimes I struggle having these conversations with the significant other because I personally like am looking for somebody who like loves me for that, right? I don't want to be judged for that. I don't want to feel like I'm difficult because if we're playing a card game, I'm going to dive in and tell you how I really feel about Kevin Samuels. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't ever want to feel like that's a problem with the person I'm dating. If anything, I need someone who understands that and loves that, right? So when we first like had like our first little debate about on my dating site, it says, tell me how you really feel about Kevin Samuels and Lizzo. That's like a question that I bring up because I don't care about those two people, but it gets me in a conversation about things that I value the most. And that is what he thinks about, the issues with body image and sizeism and beauty standards. And then I get to hear a little bit of what they think about feminism. So I talk about those two things, and him and I got into a debate about that. And he like did not shun me away, and like we didn't agree about everything, but he made me feel good. You know what I mean? Like I can be opinionated. And anyway, that was one big reason why I liked him. But anyway, y'all, moving on. So we had date number 5, I think, on Saturday, right?
Okay.
We've been moving, progressing through this for anybody that's been watching. And it's been all good stuff. So this
Wait, it wasn't like you didn't have the shock again, did you?
What? No. Well, ironically enough, hold on, you might think I did. Listen, so him and I made it.
We didn't have to like pull it down, and then there was the shock again. I just want to make sure. Sorry.
Not that kind of shock. No, not that
Okay,
kind of
just
shock.
checking. Had to check.
Fun fact, we made a decision that we didn't want to have sex right away because we were really trying to find someone that we wanted to marry, have kids with, and we felt like we didn't want to have sex too soon because that sometimes ruins stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So we from the rip, we're both on the same page about that, right? So I was super excited. He comes over. I invite him over to my place for the first time. I cooked him dinner. He has been going all out, by the way. So I cooked him dinner.
Medicine cabinet?
Huh?
You checked that medicine cabinet?
Girl, let me tell you how. If y'all saw last week's episode, I shampoo my carpets. I wash my walls. Like, I think I told you that day. I was like, I'm shampooing my carpets tomorrow. I don't play, and all my closets were cleaned out. Like, you're not going to be... The first thing men do is they walk into your bathroom and say, can I use the bathroom? And they open up your medicine cabinet. They're trying to see what type of chick I really am. Well, guess what? My toilet paper was organized, okay? To the T.
Oh, what you call it?
Front ways. Like, you couldn't say nothing. So anyway, back to the story, right? So I cooked, huh?
No, I was staying high. Go ahead, girl.
Cooked dinner, right? We did a movie night, and I thought it was like the perfect way of us having some type of closeness since we have made that decision, but we've been very much going out on dates in public, and we hadn't really progressed to any type of intimate moment, even if we're not having sex. I think that's important, right? So we watched the movie, watched 2 movies, and ate dinner, obviously. And by the second movie, we're all over each other, kissing and touching. And full disclosure, y'all, I've decided not to have sex. Right?
You said not to?
I've decided not to have sex, but I'm still a Scorpio woman. I'm very, very sensual. If you kiss me and touch me, I'm gonna kiss you and touch you back, and it's gonna be boom, boom, boom. Does that mean I'm having sex with you?
No,
Does
not
that mean
necessarily.
that I'm having sex with you?
I don't think so. A lot of other people might differ in our opinions, but I mean, I don't think that has to necessarily. Maybe you just got a little hot and heavy, and we leave that tension, right? That spice for the next time, or whatever for later. Build up that tension.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
That's how I felt about this situation. I'm I left that situation feeling like we just had a hot and heavy moment, and that should be the case, right? You should be attracted to me. I should be attracted to you. Anyway, long story short, we get into a discussion one night. Sidebar, this man goes to church, right? And I'm not judging y'all church people out here, but I was like, okay, I don't go to church every Sunday, but I do believe in God. And I have my own spiritual practice. So I'm going to try this with this church guy, even though it's not my thing. And I didn't realize it was going to be such a big deal that we had this hot and heavy moment. And he was just going to the church people, having conversations about what the heck was going on. And he's all in his feelings about I'm just struggling with the issues of with the wants of the flesh and my decision to do the right thing. And kind of leads me into this conversation where he felt like we were close to having sex. And I said to him, that's very assumptuous to feel like we were going too far when, in my opinion, we just had a great moment. I could have been hanging from the chandeliers butt ass naked, and I was not going to have sex with that man that night. I didn't wax. I purposely canceled my wax appointment because I wasn't going to have sex. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, we get into
you guys, did you guys have the discussion that okay, you said you did, right? That we're not going to?
So And so we never had a discussion of, are we not having sex until marriage, right? I will say that, but we had a conversation where, yeah, we want to go slow with that. You know what I mean? Like, and I know he's had sex before. It's not like he's a virgin. So it's like, I didn't think that it was that big of a deal that we would have an intimate, kissing session. You know what I mean? Like, but anyway, so that night I ended up asking, like, so let me just find out, like, because maybe I'm missing something here. Like, is your plan to not have sex, not have those type of encounters till marriage? Like, is that, because did I miss something? Did I mess something up here? And then he was just kind of like, this is the kicker. He was confused. He was just like, no, I'm not saying that. I just don't know what I want. And now I'm just struggling because I kind of want this and I'm trying to do what's right. I'm sorry for the voice, right? But I was so confused that I just ended up just saying, like, listen, I kind of feel the vibe here and I just want to make sure that I'm not, because he made a comment like, yeah, we were almost there and you this and you that. And I was like, yo, like, I feel like you're trying to make me feel bad because I'm totally okay with my sexuality over here, even though I'm not screwing you. And we kind of like went back and forth, closed the call kind of like uncomfortable, but it wasn't an argument, Lady J. It was just like we talked about some things and I really did push the issue to kind of get to the bottom of it because I thought it was very important. But we ended up closing the call, kind of like, feeling the vibe. And by the next day, I didn't hear from him like the whole day. So I waited until like bedtime and I called him because bottom line is, I've been seeing you, you've been pursuing me. I've been pursuing you. I don't care what we went through. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? So I called him. He didn't answer. And then he texts me back. And I promise the story is almost done. He texts me back and tells me, I'm sorry, I need space because I didn't like the way you handled that last night.
This is my new thing on TikTok. I'm like, I'm gonna just church finger myself right out to.
I just had a conversation. Listen. So I'm gonna just get straight to the point. We had a couple words. He's blocked on everything under the sun because I don't play those type of games. Like, you're not going to project that type of energy on me when all I did was show up who I am, try to communicate with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been respectful all the way. I've been understanding all the way. Like, I blocked him on everything because you're not going to take your space and then show up in my DMs and liking my stories 2 weeks from now. Date like a Spartan. You got to get them off the roster if you're not the one. Boom. So now I'm back on the market.
That part. This, you guys don't even understand. Tonight's topic is communication. Tonight's topic is communication. And this story.
You see my message when you said that? I was like, yes. On point, girl. You ain't even know. Like, on point.
This communication and communication styles, because this is so like literally, like somebody be like it don't work or whatever, and be like, nah, I don't want to do this, that, and the other. But then like you message me out of nowhere, or you send me something, or you pop up in live or something or whatever. Like, and it's like, I'm confused. Like, what are you?
Demetrius said Church Boy was ready.
Yeah, he was. So this is so on point to tonight's communication or like topic. So I'm super excited to get
I brought a glass of wine to the table tonight, guys, because I just felt like, I hope y'all don't mind.
It's been a week.
Don't drink and drive.
Thank you. No, hopefully y'all not driving and watching. I'm be honest. I mean, I'm grateful, but don't do nothing to get y'all in trouble and messed up.
I woke up this morning and got a facial and a pedi. Okay, so I'm all right.
I'm super sorry to hear that, because like I was rooting for y'all. I was, I knocked on wood and everything,
I know.
Speaking stuff into existence and stuff for you, and I'm sorry, but I mean, at least you got her early though.
So I actually woke up very happy today. And I realized it's because I don't feel like I did anything like that I regret in that situation. And I feel like I learned some more about what I'm looking for. And that's the only thing that matters, right?
That part is that you learned something out of it. And I think that's where I'm at in life, is that even if something doesn't work, even if it's like, that was a flop, that wasn't worked out. I learned, I don't like that. That was nice. That was nice. That I don't like. I don't like that. So it's good that you learned something. I think that's what's key, is like you learned something in it. It sucks to have to go through it and it like not work. But I think the fact that you learn something, especially you learn something about yourself, you learn something about what you want, and what you don't want. And I was having a conversation with somebody about that this week, is the whole thing of like, even though I meet different people and I'm having conversations with different people, I'm seeing like, okay, I don't like this in this person. I don't like that in that. Okay, so now it helps me to kind of like round out, and I don't want to say checklist, but almost it is kind of like a checklist. It's like, okay, these are the things that I like in a person. These things I want. So yeah, so.
So the checklist is very important. A lot of folks try to knock the checklist off because they're trying to put us all in a box that they might have put themselves in, where they're only living to a checklist. So I personally don't like the support of like, no one's perfect, your standards are too high, stop with the checklist. Well, no, it's because maybe you were too rigid in your checklist, right? Checklists are very important, but you kind of like, you have that standard, and then there are moments where you can compromise because it's not compromising your happiness to compromise on this thing. So although I have a checklist, I need to see where they're ranking. But just because they don't have everything in the box doesn't necessarily mean that I won't talk to them. It just means, okay, I'm going to weigh my options based on this, right? And how much do I have to lean left? And am I willing to lean left? So I love checklists.
I don't know if I like to call them checklists. I just like to, I don't know.
People have branded it. No,
I guess that's what it is. I guess it's a checklist, but it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm checking something off the box. I just feel like, so I'm always, as I always say, because I always start off with, I had a conversation with someone from TikTok, right? Flipping runs my life. TikTok has taken over my brain. I had a conversation with somebody about like, the whole like, what do you, when is it too much to say it's compromise? They had made a statement in regards to, when you're with somebody, you just accept certain things and you tolerate certain things, and you have this, that, and other. And I was like, skirt, pause. And we were talking on Facebook Messenger, and I was like, nah, I need to pick up the phone on this call. Like on this comment right here, let me pick up the phone. So, hey, pause. Good morning. Hope you're having a great day. But I need to hit this point right here that you said. I don't do that. I don't do that. So I understand, right, that in relationship, you're supposed to have compromises. You're supposed to have these things that, we tolerate. And, there's like, you snore. Dang it, you snore.
It's not a red flag, but,
okay, so yeah, I can like go with that. But when it comes to stuff like I was telling somebody I talked to told me, well, not talked to, but I had a conversation with, told me that they didn't want me to get any more tattoos. Fun fact, Lady J got a new tattoo. I can't show it right now. I'll show y'all. Okay. I'll show y'all next week. Next week I got a new tattoo. But I had somebody prior to getting this tell me that, oh, I don't like that. You shouldn't get any more tattoos. What? Pause. What you mean? I said, I don't even know you. So you would like not, you would, if somebody was trying to get with you or be with you or whatever, you would like, I'm going to do this anyways. I don't know you. And first of all, if that's what you tell me, I'm not going to mess with you no way. Like, communication is X'd off already because you're trying to tell me what to do with my body. Like, no. So that's something that I'm not tolerating. Like, I feel like you have to know what you're supposed to tolerate and what you're supposed to like, you got to go into it knowing what you want and don't want. You know what I mean? So when it comes to like the checklist and stuff like that, I feel like in a sense, yes, I do look at it in that sense because it's like, okay, yeah, no, you're not going to tell me what I can and can't do. And it's not that I'm like super, I'm so independent, but clearly you're not the type of person that I would want to deal with because I'm not going to let you tell me what I can and can't do. Like, that's a no already off the bat. Check, you've been Apollo done took you out the room already.
Sandman.
So no, can't do that.
I agree with that. And plus, I also feel like I'm big on this, guys. Just because I'm in a relationship and just because you're in a relationship, individuality should never be compromised. I think the reason why we have so many breakups, so many divorces, so many people cheating and having babies out of wedlock is because we actually end up getting stale in these relationships because we have no real individuality while we're in it, and people start to feel suffocated, right? So my big thing is, although I'm a little bipolar with this, right? Because I do believe in submission to my lover, just like I feel like they should submit to me as a lover, right? Like I think there's certain things like that you're gonna submit to and kind of partner with and just have a different two-way street dialogue about stuff, right? So I'm for that. But it's individuality within the relationship is so important. So kind of saying something like what that gentleman said to you, things like that is troublesome for me because now I have to compromise who I am as a person just to be with you. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And that's why I feel like before you enter into a relationship with someone, you need to know, their views and their ideas on things because, then you enter in and then all of a sudden it's like, well, I don't like you to do that. You ain't never say nothing that before. Now all of a sudden you want me to conform and be this way. And so, no, it makes sense. And for me, all of this is part of communication styles and the way people are. Moving into our topic to really get in and can add all this.
I'm writing notes. What are we talking about?
So, again, communication. Again, conversations on TikTok. People I know from TikTok, because that's like clearly most of all the people I know are on TikTok. I'm real big on communication. I feel like communication is so important in all relationships, right? Not just like this my boo, this my bae, this my boo thing, my significant other, whoever. Communication goes with friends, family, significant others, your boo, your bae, coworkers. Like communication is key and comprehension is also key, right? So you can communicate, me and you can have a conversation, but if you don't comprehend what I'm saying and I don't comprehend what you're saying, it was pointless.
Yeah.
It was absolutely pointless. So you have to have both. And then you also have delivery, right? So like I could say something to you. I could say, Crystle, I like your hair, but I really I don't like it like that. Like, I think you should wear it up. It just look better up. I just think your hair looks better when you wear it up, right?
Let me get a ponytail holder then.
But if I come to you, right, like how you gonna take that offensively, right? But if I say, Crystle, you know what? I love your hair. Like, oh my God, I love that style on you. I love when it's down. That is so beautiful. You gonna take that less offensive? Like, oh wait, what you mean? So when I wore it back in a ponytail to prom? No, because I gave you a compliment. I delivered something that I thought looked better differently. So delivery is key. So, story time. I was on TikTok. I happened to see someone who comes through my page often was on for their very first live. So I popped in, be supportive. They're supportive of me. I'm supportive of them. I pop in there and they were talking about it's their first live and this, that, and the other. And they want to have some conversations. So I'm like, what do you want to talk about? So we get in there, we have conversations or whatever. We get to this space where this gentleman asked, is anybody dealing with has anybody been feeling like depression looming over them? Like, have you been feeling like that? And I was like, little bit. So he starts talking about, how in January he was going through this space of depression and he wasn't in the gym, this, that, and the third. And, when you're in the gym, for him, he was like, when you're in the gym, he didn't say himself, he said people, like when you're in the gym, you eat healthy. When you're not in the gym, you eat all kinds of junk food. I said, me, fun fact, Lady J, I eat unhealthy all the time, okay? If I'm in the gym, I eat chili cheese fries at 3 o'clock in the morning. If I'm not in the gym, I eat chili cheese fries at 3 o'clock in the morning, okay? Because Lady J just don't care. She don't count no calories. She's going to eat bread. Girl, lies. I don't count no calories. I'm not running around here eating carrot sticks and ranch unless I want to, okay? It's a choice. So if at 3:30 in the morning I wake up and want 6 tacos, I'm going to wake up and make my tail 6 tacos, okay? That's what I'm going to do, because that's what I do. Don't care if I'm in the gym or not. I don't care. So he proceeds to say, well, that's because you have pretty girl face syndrome. I have what? What does
that mean?
What's that mean? What are you trying to say? He's like, what? What did I say? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what are you trying to say? Like, what are you saying? I have pretty girl face syndrome. Like, what? And he was like, he starts explaining, and I was like, are you complimenting me? Are you saying that you think I'm cute? Are you telling me you think I'm attractive?
Oh, he was giving you a compliment. Okay.
And he says, yeah, duh. Like, what else would I be saying? I said, okay, for me, listen, y'all understand this. For those of y'all that are here from TikTok, y'all already know I got to think about words. Words are a big thing for me, okay? So when you say something, and I'm an overthinker by nature. I'm working on it. It's okay. I'm working on it. pretty girl syndrome makes me feel like you're saying like I'm stuck up, I'm snotty, I think that I'm cuter than people, this, that, and the other. Syndrome throws me. That word, it throws me. So I start to explain it, and he's like, why? Like, that doesn't make sense. Now, other people in the chat are thinking like, yeah, I thought you were calling her a mean girl, this, that, and the other. In his mind, the way he was communicating was perfectly fine. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it. But because of the way I'm wired and because of the way I communicate, I was completely thrown. So I've been learning that, like, it's like I already knew, but I've never dealt with a person like this where I cannot understand their communication style at all. Every time they say something, what are you saying? What are you trying to say? I'm confused. And so I just want to talk about communication styles and like communication, and like I want your opinions. I want to have some dialogue. Hey, lady, how are you? Thanks for joining in. Never heard of that pretty girl syndrome thing or whatever. I never heard of it either. That was the first time I've heard of it. That's the first time I was ever complimented like that. For me, I ain't like the way it made me feel bad, but it's okay.
The book definition of syndromes makes it seem like something wrong with you though. So I don't think that's a communication style. I think he chose a word that really would have context clues would have led a lot of people to think that. And I don't necessarily think that communication was a style. It was more so like you said something that was misunderstood. And then honestly, once it was corrected, he actually should have been like, I should probably use a new word. Because if you look up syndrome in the dictionary, it's defined as, look up, what the heck does syndrome mean in the dictionary? Like, this is not a communication style. You like totally use a word that makes me seem ill.
But this is particularly how, like, it's not always when communicating with this particular person, it's not always this way, but it's always confusing and like, what are you saying? But then it's made to be like, what did I say? What do you not understand? So I'm like, I must be crazy. I have to be crazy. So
wait, hold on.
Look it up.
Indulge me.
Okay.
A rare syndrome in which the production of white blood cells is damaged. A characteristic combination of opinions, emotions, or behavior. I don't get that one. A group of symptoms which consistently occur together, or a condition characterized by a set of associated symptoms. Okay. The damage piece confused me, but that's what syndrome is.
But if you really think about it, and y'all in the chat, if y'all could throw it in there, because I'd like to know.
The presence of disease.
Beyond our definition, our definition, y'all in the chat, please participate. Please throw it in there. What is y'all idea of syndrome? Because for me, I feel like that's a word that, whatchamacallit, that like, it makes you feel like something's wrong. Somebody say syndrome, you're like, what's wrong? What happened? What you got? You know what I'm saying? So I felt a certain way, but I don't necessarily know if I want to say that's a communication style, but it is the way this particular person communicates. And so I feel like knowing and understanding, I say I'm wired a certain way.
Right.
So I communicate in such a way to where, like, I really have to have clarity. And if you sit in my room with me on TikTok, you'll see I ask a lot of questions. Some people think it's combative. It's not that I'm being combative. It's that I'm trying to gain clarity. Huh?
That's what he said when I was asking. So the bad date or the bad guy or the relationship that didn't work. When I started to ask I drilled down on some very specific questions to figure out what was troubling him with this whole hot and heavy night that we had. And he was just like, one of the last things he said to me was like, you just don't know how to stop. I was trying to find out what the heck was going on. So I don't know.
And some people take my communication style as being aggressive or combative, or I get the, okay, fine, you're right. I don't want to be right. I want to communicate. I want to understand. And so I am asking a lot of questions because I'm looking for understanding. I'm not trying to be combative or any of that. I just want to make sure. I want to make sure when I'm communicating with somebody, I'm in the same book and we on the same page. I don't want to be on chapter 1 and you on chapter 57 because you done sped read. Okay.
So I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for you, Lady J, and the audience.
I might have an answer. If I don't, maybe they do.
I think the wine just kicked in. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
I lost my train of thought already.
Oh, squirrel.
So, okay. Is someone who finds a person who, like you described, right? In your mind, you're a great communicator and you like to ask questions for clarification because you need to understand. Like that's a need of yours to understand.
Absolutely.
So you ask questions, and that's in the way of communicating. That's your way of communicating, and you can be perceived as combative. I actually relate with that. Like often, like I feel like I'm being combative. People look at me as being combative because I need to understand, because I need to figure out where we're going here, right? Like so, someone who pushes back on that. Is it that they just have a different communication style, or is it that they're unwilling to hold themselves accountable to answer those questions?
I think in some cases, some people are absolutely unwilling to answer those questions. I think there are cases and points and times and different people that you do deal with that are they're trying to get away from it, or they're a certain way, and yet they don't want to own and hold accountability and responsibility for the fact that that's your nature. That's you. That ain't me. That's you. That ain't got nothing to do with me. That's you. Okay. And I think as the person who deals with someone like that, when it's in that situation, you have to absolutely understand that it's not you, it's them. And they are skirting around something, and they are making you seem like you're the crazy one, or you're combative, or you're this, or you're that. I think that sometimes it is that way.
Yes. They feel the pressure. The pressure is not necessarily you. It might be just that they have to be accountable to come up with some answers here.
So I think, yes, in some cases. Sometimes I don't think it's that. I think sometimes it's really that people don't quite grasp what you're saying. Like, I feel like, I think he really thought he was not saying something that was like horrible. I really feel like because he was really like lost in it. He was like, what? Huh? What does that mean? And it was like, I think he really didn't grasp it. And I think sometimes you really do. You run into people who don't understand. So in my room, always TikTok, sorry. In the room, I have my moderators, right? Y'all know how TikTok works. I have my moderators. There are a couple that are in here with me this evening. Thank y'all for y'all support on all sides. I super appreciate you guys. Thanks for your fingers. I'm freaking real deal. So there's people that come in, and my moderators be like, listen, and it's okay. So I have a safe word for when you can let somebody like get muted or blocked out of the room. My word is snuffleupagus.
Random.
I can't be normal. I know I did a TikTok that was like, if you're a good TikToker, what do I say at the end of the video? And he's like, snuffleupagus. So for me, it was so hilarious. And so I decided that was going to be my word. So if I say snuffleupagus or it's a snuffy, they know, take them out. Sniper, take them out. So sometimes people come into the room and they be ready. They be having their fingers on the trigger. As soon as they say one thing that be wrong, they be like, all right, you being warned. What you about to say? And I have to say, wait, pause, stop. Listen, nobody do nothing. Take your fingers off the trigger. It's not a snuffy, not yet. Give me a second. Just give me a second. Bear with me. And Mike gets so like, fun fact, he gets so bothered when I do this because he's like, they're gonna take your page down again if you keep doing this. And I'm like, I know, but I don't know how to stop. So I have this thing where I think that part of communication is sometimes people don't realize that they say things and they do things in a certain manner because why? Maybe no one has said anything to them. Because people do this whole like, oh, well, that's just them, that's just them. It's okay. So people accept and allow them to continue to be this way. So they continue to do it. So there's times where I stop and I say, wait, hold on. Give me a second. And I'll stop and I'll do what I do. I ask questions. Okay, so what exactly is it that you're trying to say to me? Well, I'm trying to say this, that, and the third. Yeah, but I feel like there's something behind the question that you're actually asking. And after I do that, they begin to start to break down and actually ask me what they're trying to ask me. They try to skirt around it, but they start to ask me what they're asking me. And then we sit and we talk back and forth and we have a conversation. We have a discussion about what they're saying and what my view is on it and what their view is on it. And there have been times where after we have that discussion, they'll tell me, you know what? You're right, my bad. Or, you know what? I didn't look at it that way. Because everybody communicates differently. So sometimes you just have to stop and really sit and dig into the situation and the conversation, and so that you're really hearing what people are saying. Because a lot of times nowadays, we're not communicating with people. Like, I was literally talking about that online. I was like, what is it about, like, having conversations with people in this day and age is like a lost art. Having a conversation is a flipping lost art.
Wow.
Like, you cannot have conversations with people. You sit on the phone with somebody and y'all sit there, you know, they do the whole like, oh, what's your favorite color? What do you like to eat? What is this? What is that? Da, 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 da. And then there's nothing else. And then you sit there and you're like, what about that weather? Is it sunny over there? It's hot? It's rainy? Yes, it's nice. It's nice over here. I gotta go feed my turtle. I'm gonna call you back later, though. I'm gonna call you later. I'll call you. Yeah, it's good. And then you never want to talk to them again because it's like we just sat here for 50 minutes talking about absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Like,
absolutely nothing. Or there's also another side of that too, where we're not talking about things that are relevant, or we're talking about everything. But communication also is only favored when it's easy, and when it becomes difficult conversations, we want to shy away from them. Some people are all about communicating about everything under the sun and having good dialogue and fulfilling conversation, right? But they're
like
all about it when it's easy. And then they think they're great communicators. But then when it's courageous conversations, it's now a battle when it shouldn't be. We're just having a conversation.
See, and I'm not that way. I am absolutely the, like, let's dig in. I have a friend who I want to come to the show. His name is Confident. And he comes on all the time. He always throws me these.
Can we get the person in the chat to like delete that? I'm really uncomfortable about that.
Uh-oh.
I don't know, Mike, if you can take a look at the chat. Can that be deleted? My apologies for interrupting, but I'm really uncomfortable about that. I'm not quite sure why that's there, but I'll keep going. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't see.
That's okay.
The comments. But he is, like, he always comes in and he always brings these questions.
Thank you.
You good? You want to talk about it?
No. I'm not talking about it. That was, anybody that can see it, that was wild, but go ahead.
Okay. All right. I want to make sure you're good. I just want to make sure you're good. He always brings in these great topics for conversation, and I love it because I am that person. That's my communication style. My communication style is to dig in and tell me more. I'm listening. Let's go. Like, literally, like, certain people come in the room and I'm like, oh, it's about to get good. It's about to get spicy. What you got for me today? What you got? Throw it out there. I need to hear. Let's go. So for me, that's my communication style. I am a person who needs to know. I want to know everything. I want to talk about everything. Like,
so can I ask?
I think so, yes.
If you're in a conflict, right?
Yes.
Like, clearly I'm going through it right now. If you're in a conflict, do you need like a bunch of time before we can talk about it? Or is it like weird that some of us need to talk about it now? What are your thoughts on that?
I think, again, that goes back to the way people communicate. For me, the type of person I am, I like to have conversation, hit that block button. I like to discuss something in that moment if we're both level-headed. Okay. So, like, if we're both level-headed, we're both being mature in it. I want to talk about it in that moment. And I want to, like, go ahead and I want to discuss and I want to dialogue. But again, you have to look at what I think, for me personally, you have to look at where you're at. If you guys are in a heated discussion and it's crazy and neither one of you are listening and you're not going to come to a point, then there's no point in us doing this. We need to step back, right. We need to breathe, and we need to do that. But I am very much a person who absolutely likes to have conversation and discuss and dialogue. Like okay, let's talk about what happened. Like, why did you feel this, and this? And why did you say this? Because when you said that, and I'm a big person on putting the blame on myself when I communicate. So not to offend another person, I will say, you know what? Maybe I misunderstood what you were saying. Because for me, it felt like what you were saying. You might not have intended for it to say that way. That might have been your intent, but that's what it felt like. For me, it felt like you were saying this, that, and the third, and my feelings were hurt. Can you please explain to me, like, what it was you were trying to say so that I can be on the same page? Because maybe I misunderstood. I'm super big, and I tell other people do this all the time, because I think what that does is it helps people to like take down their guard. Because when you're having communication with people get guarded because they waiting to square up. They waiting. What you about to say? What you about to say? I'm waiting for you to say something. Because when you're in discussion and when you're upset and when people's feelings are hurt and when you're offended, a lot of people just want to go to the attack. So I would rather
that's a sign of immaturity.
I don't know if I think that's immaturity. I think that is hurt. I think that's pain. I think that people get defensive, especially depending on what someone says to you, depending on what your discussion is, what your conversation is, what are your triggers? Because in communication, like, right, and within ourselves, we all have triggers.
Yeah.
So if you say something that I'm actively like healing from with a trigger, I'm not gonna lie, my defense is. What you mean when you said that? What did you? What exactly was you saying?
I hear you, right? But I think that's what's so problematic is the fact that we continue to allow that to be the okay in communication or the okay with
Which
people.
Part?
So all the reasons why you said that folks are not necessarily immature, they might be triggered, they might that's pain, right? I think that's it right there. We have a lot of people
trauma response.
Not dealing with their triggers, So I got a bunch of triggers, right? I'm gonna be real. If I can be in conversation with people and hear half the SHIT I hear from men in particular, a lot of my triggers have a lot to do with sexist issues that I've dealt with and sizeism issues that I've dealt with, right? I hear the conversations all day long, and I hear it in my conversation with men, and I feel that they are teachable moments. You know why? Because I've worked on self, and I know what my triggers are, and I'm not going to get defensive by you. I'm now going to have a healthy conversation with you to help you understand me and why, hey, this is important to me, and let me tell you why what you're saying could potentially trigger me or someone else, right? Like, and I think where it's our responsibility, this is probably where I disconnect with some folks. I do think it's our responsibility. Say something, see something. When folks act like that, you have to speak up. And I don't think it's okay for me to feel like we just have different communication styles because you haven't dealt with your SHIT. Go deal with your SHIT and leave me alone.
Listen, if you sit in my live, you will hear that I talk to that a lot. Now, what I'm saying is, this is why I think people deal with things. Now, do I think it's okay? Absolutely not. I try to live a very intentional life. Every day is a day that I get up and try to say, okay, I'm going to be better. What am I learning today? What am I going to get? And I will absolutely have a conversation where I'll see something or someone said something and I feel a trigger and I catch it. And I say, oh, okay.
You catch it? Look.
This is the trigger. This is the trigger. Okay. And depending on who they are, depending on the type of situation, relationship we have, I let them, okay, so listen, for me, not that it's okay. He was amazing today. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Terrence. Thank you. Not necessarily that it's okay, but this is the spot where I'm healing. This is the spot where I'm working on it. So I'm allowing you to know that, hey, I want for you to know this is a trigger. I'm not saying that that's a pass. Just know I'm still working on it, okay? She's work in progress. So I don't think that it's okay. And I talk about that a lot. That's that whole thing too. Well, everybody just says that that's just how they are, and so we just accept it, and
No,
that's not okay.
it's not
What
okay.
I am saying is that there are so many people who are not working on and do not recognize that they have triggers, that they have issues. And for you and I, right? That's crazy, right? That's
And,
crazy
because
because
then
like,
we be blindsided. We be
but it
blindsided.
seems like that's crazy because I work on me. I look at the
I
man in the
work
mirror
on
every
me.
day.
I work on me. Hold on,
What I
this
had
is a
to
good
learn,
one. Let's read this from
what I
all the
had
way
to learn
through.
has to, what I had to
Relationship
learn as I
gumbo.
handle it right now. Go read it from me, girl, because I ain't got my
What
glasses
I
on.
had to learn as I handle it right now, type of person, is that my wife isn't me. She needs time to cool down. I don't. It used to piss me off, but it's physiologically for the most physiological for them most times. He has another one coming through, so we'll read all of them. If you want to send them through, Mike. They need time to calm before re-engaging. So now we compromise on it. It might be delayed, but he had a few, so I just wanted to make sure.
And that's true.
In the
And
meantime, we both work on. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm reading them in advance. They need the time to calm before re-engaging. So now we compromise on it. In the meantime, we both work on our triggers all while not hurting each other, said Relationship Gumbo podcast. And I think that's true too. I have a question for Relationship Gumbo, but go ahead, Lady J.
And that's the thing, is knowing your triggers, knowing the person that you're with and how they react. So I like to absolutely have that conversation right now. But as he said, if you have a person that can't do that, you have to give them their space and their time to be able to, so that you guys can both come back to it. I don't mind if Relationship Gumbo got a link. I don't mind. But I'm just saying, I don't mind if
do we not do links here?
I don't know. I know someone else I know we gave a link to BMT one time, and so I don't mind.
Oh, you want to talk to him?
If he'd like to join. No, I know he's a guy. He's a guy, so
I want to make sure I'm repping on my hims, hers, days.
No,
and
I do that all the time. But I'm the type of person, I'm more like you. I need to talk about it right away. But there are some people who are not ready for that. But I do think you got to know people's triggers. You have to know, but if they don't know their own triggers, that becomes a problem. That becomes a situation. So knowing your triggers, knowing your spouse or your significant other, your boo, your bae, whatever it is, you have to know how they communicate, and you guys have to cohesively communicate together. So I don't think that it's weird that we are like that. I think we just are that way, and some people aren't that way, if that makes sense.
So, all right, my question is, very great point. And I think Relationship Gumbo is touching on what you're saying, Lady J, that it's like understanding the communication styles and adapting to that, right? So important. At what point, though, Relationship Gumbo,
I have answers.
were you at like, oh my gosh, we have totally different communication styles. So we have to talk through this. So this goes back. There are certain levels of, honestly, people healing and dealing with their triggers to get to a point where you're that different. That's you and your wife are that different, right? And you guys got to a point where now you're dealing with it differently, because at that initial phase, if you were not healed to some point, right? If you were not in a position to have healthy dialogue because of your process, you guys would have never got into the place that you just described. Now, I guess it's not a question, it's more a point, but I mean, disagree, agree, but I'm just curious, what do we think about that? Like, they had to be somewhere in a mature place, or at least dealing with themselves, right?
Yes.
Before they had the talk to get them to where they are now. Now, Relationship Gumbo, tell us, what are your thoughts there? But go ahead, Lady J.
I agree. I talk about like people growing and healing a lot. And I talk about how, like, right, a lot of people think that you're supposed to grow together, right? We're supposed to grow together, but everybody's different. So we don't always grow together. So maybe I'm growing and I'm here, but the person that I'm with is growing like this, but I'm still growing. And every time I grow some, they grow a little bit. So if we're not actively trying to kind of get to the same space to where we're at least kind of close, it becomes hard to deal and stay in relationship because while
I
I'm
can cancel my
constant,
therapy appointment this week, Lady J.
this is what it's like. Listen, for real, this is what it's like to talk to me in live. So
I can cancel my, but I'm just kidding. I'm still gonna keep it. Woo, woo, woo.
Right. I think I need to call mine. I think I need to call mine. So I really do talk about like people. You have to, right? You have to. I feel like you can't stay stagnant. You have to grow and heal. So you get to a space where if I'm up here and you right here, and every couple of months you take a little inch, but then I grow up a little bit more, you lagging. So if we're not coming to a place where we're close, you're not able to get to that space where relationship gumbo is talking about, because I'm constantly growing. I'm constantly moving. I don't believe people always grow at the same pace because we're all different. It takes us different spaces and different times to grow. So I feel like I think it's unfair to assume that someone will grow at the same space as you. I don't believe that that's how it works. Now, it's not unfair to say, but you need to grow and do something. You need to heal. Okay. You do need to heal. That's what you do need to do. Okay. I can't just be healing this by myself and you sitting there in the same mess. That don't work. That's not how we do things. Because why? Because I'm constantly growing. I'm constantly moving in this space of maturing and healing, but you're not healing. You're not growing. And if you are, you're moving at such a snail's pace that we're never able to get onto a place where we are cohesive. Agreed. So you see what I'm saying? So it's like,
agreed.
I feel like we have to, and I'm not the person to be like, oh, well, we gonna wait 15, we gonna wait 30 years for you to grow with me. Nah, partner, listen, I can't do that. Okay, I don't waste a whole lot. I don't want to say wasted time. I don't like to say relationships are wasted time. No. I believe past relationships are.
They can be. They can be. If you don't leave when it's time to go. So, okay, and I get that. Here's why I say that. I say that because you said that you went into this situation with this gentleman, right? The bae, not bae, like dysfunction. Go ahead, girl. I can't got my glasses on. Relationship gumbo chiming in. Like dysfunctional is like calling me out my name, yelling at me. This isn't that. It's more about having different argument styles. It's about respecting the differences. Facts. That's what I'm getting at. Like, I'm sorry, y'all. This is gonna come out probably like throughout the rest of this convo, but because I'm still like healing over here. But like my whole thing is like, you had to have a whole day to yourself and tell me you need space because like you didn't like the fact that I had questions. Like no one cussed at you, no one argued with you. We weren't even yelling. We were having a very healthy conversation.
Maybe that was a hard
awkward decision. Energy, huh?
Maybe that was a hard decision for him. Like maybe he really didn't want to. Maybe he didn't know how to say it to you. Maybe he didn't want to say it to you. Maybe he didn't want it to be a reality. And so he needed to take time to sit and think and say, okay, how am I gonna, because he said he was struggling. He was having an inner battle. He was having this inner battle with his spirituality, with the fact that he likes you, with the fact that he probably did want to move into that space with you. So, that's tugging on my spirituality side. And I got this, and I'm trying to be a good man. I'm trying to do this. I really like
I get that, but my struggle is me wanting to have a conversation to understand that's what's going on. Like it's hard for me to understand why that's problematic.
But but clearly he needed more time though. And I get it. Like for you, it's realized, like you should just know. But for him, he was battling. And so now I get the battle part, because sometimes there are times absolutely for me where sometimes I'll be ready to discuss something right away. Okay, fun fact, had a situation where I kind of was like, oh, somebody's kind of cute or whatever. And they kind of like, kind of got the wiggly feelings or whatever. But they made me kind of nervous. And so it was hard for me, and I'm this grown woman, but I'm nervous. And so it took me time to say certain things to this person. And so I was not used to that, because I'm very much a person listen, if you think about somebody, if you texting, if you missing somebody, if you you just text, you just let them know that's what you do. Listen, I'm not,
you do. I'm like that
middle school. I'm not in high school. We don't do that.
I could have blocked you and all. If you pop in my mind, I want to talk to you, I want to unblock you and call you.
So right. But
that's what I do.
But I was literally in this space of weirdness, and it was something that I had to realize about myself. Whoa, why? Why am I going through this? Why am I doing this? And I figured out why and what the reason was behind it. But my point is that it did take me time. Whereas normally I just be like, yo, okay, so listen, we need to have a conversation. And this is what I'd like to talk about. I would like to talk about this, and the third. But in this particular situation, I felt a certain type of way. So it was harder for me to just open up and say it. I'm gonna be honest. I was scared of the reaction of what was going to come from it. I was scared of the reaction and what the response would be. I was scared of a whole lot of stuff. My brain was, and I've told y'all, I'm an overthinker by nature. Okay, it's what it does. I go way. I bring up 12 million things, and it's just this small. It's not that serious sometimes. But I needed that time before I could actually open up and say what I had to say. I think it's not a, I think it's a case by case situation. It's a case by case, thing. Like every situation is not the same. It's not one size fits all. I think that it sounds like from the way he described it to you, I really feel like it was this battle for him. I feel like it was like this tug of war where he was really trying to grasp and understand, like, how do I bring this to her? Because it seemed like he was very much into you from the way you describe it. He seemed like he was very much into you, but as you said, he's in church, and I'm not knocking nobody in church. I just know that I was born and raised in church, and I know the types of things that I dealt with when I was fully active in church, and the battles that I had with premarital sex and babies out of wedlock and different things like that. And, so especially depending on what background he is in church, like that could have been a huge struggle for him. So I don't want to knock him for waiting so long. I don't really know what his situation or his case was, but I think that there could have been multiple reasons for why he waited so long. Especially if this seems like it was brand new in you guys' conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like if you guys don't normally talk like that, but then all of a sudden there's this change, I would stop and say, why was that so drastic? Like that was weird. That's off. Wonder why. I think for me, it sounds like there was like a struggle. There was a battle that he kind of was like going through. I don't think he necessarily wanted to let it go, but I don't think he actually knew how to have the conversation with you. And I personally think it was him trying to take the time to make sure. I'm a firm believer, especially with communication. I'm a firm believer. A lot of times, I don't know if you noticed, when someone asks me a question or I'm having conversation with someone, I stop and I look up. A lot of times they say in psychology, that's a sign of someone lying, or I think it's looking to the left or the right. That's a sign of people lying. It's not that I'm lying or I'm looking to make something up. It's that I'm trying to connect the dots. Like I describe it to people as like, like connect the dots, like puzzles, the like, okay, connect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you get this picture of flowers or whatever, right? Sometimes I feel like 4 and 6 aren't there. So now I can't connect the whole conversation. So I'm like, okay, let me listen to what she's saying. It's like, like you lean to your phone to hear somebody. It's almost like that. It's real weird. Or when people say, let me turn my music down so I can see where I'm going, even though it has no tie or no connection, that's what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, wait, I'm thinking. And when someone asks me a question, sometimes I'll say, repeat the question again. Or if I'm reading something, can you read it? Wait, I'll reread the question 3, 4 times. And it might take me a minute to answer the question. I can't just give you a response right away, because if I give you a response right away, it might be an invalid response. There's been times when my friend Confident, who comes on and asks me a question, I stop, I reread the question, I look up and I'm thinking, and then I'll start saying something and I say, wait, stop, pause, retract that. I'm changing my statement. Because I'm taking so much time to make sure that I am effectively communicating what I feel, my thoughts, and my views on what's being said. Sometimes it does take me a little bit longer, because I want to make sure, because in the past, or in times we just go, we shoot from the hip and we just say, well, okay, because this is what's in my mind right now. So then I just go. And sometimes you do that and you got to come back and think and be like, dang, wait, no. Now that I think about it, dang, no, how would I handle it? Like what did we talk about? Prenups. Last week, we talked about prenups? Yeah. And I was saying how at first my view on prenups had been for the longest, Nah, you don't trust me. You about to ask me for a prenup? Like, nah, you don't trust me. You think I'm about to try to take your money after we done? Like, nah, you don't even know me. Like, nah, don't do that. But then I sat and I thought about it. And this, now mind you, this was years. It took me years to come to a space, years to come to a space where I was like, nah, I could kind of see how I don't like the thought of a prenup, but I can see how it does protect certain people because people do change.
Yeah.
Like over time, sometimes people become completely different people from who they were when you first started. So when you are a person of high worth and high value, and you want to make sure that somebody don't wipe you out, because a lot of times nowadays, right, like, or in situations, you get married to somebody, y'all get married for love, you think it's so amazing, it's so great, and then somebody come up, you know, with a business plan, and now we got all this stuff, we all lost money, and now I'm trying to take you for everything you dang on got, right? So it took me years, though. It took him a day to figure out some feelings, to figure out how to talk to you. It took me years to figure out, okay, maybe prenups aren't so bad. So I just don't think it's that easy all the time. I think that sometimes we do have to stop. And as relationship Gumbo said, if I read it correctly, he allows her that space to kind of like recharge, come back, and sounds like your visualizing happens often with visionaries. What do you mean?
When you're looking up and when you were connecting the dots.
Yes, I do.
I was giggling because Demetrius, it didn't come through maybe because it's on YouTube, but Demetrius said, "Battle my butt." He was ready to put God aside to lay it down. I was hoping for that one to pop up, but it didn't.
You said what?
Demetrius said, "Battle my butt." He was ready to put God aside to lay it down.
Yeah, Demetrius he's a character. He's a character. He is absolutely a character. So I just think that I don't think that one is so simple. And again, I do think that it could be because you are still healing. And that's another thing in communication. It's hard for us to communicate sometimes effectively when we're still healing, when we're still processing, when we're still, and I think that's why it's good sometimes to take that step back, because when you're still healing, it might not be a good time to have the conversation, because in this feeling of like, dang, what you mean? Like, how do you even think, like, why did you just assume that we was just going to go to the next step? Like just because we was having a good time doesn't necessarily mean that. So you're in that feeling, but maybe you need some time to like, kind of be like, you know what? Okay. I can understand you've been like living this, life.
No, I'm sorry. No, I don't feel that way. And I don't think I will ever change, because my healing process has led me to finally be stern in my ground when it comes to
maybe he's not healed.
This expectation that men place on women and these assumptions.
Maybe he's not healed.
Maybe. And you know what's so funny? One of our earlier, like, remember I started the conversation, not to go off, but I'll be quick. I started to saying one of the things I loved about him was we ended up in a conversation where I felt like he heard me and didn't judge me that I was so opinionated about it. And the conversation was a lot had something to do with how I thought about sexism and sizeism or whatever like that. And we were debating though. And I realized in that moment, although we didn't debate in a way where he made me feel like I didn't have a voice, we were on the different pages. Like, he didn't quite understand why, I think, and I would just say this, like, he made a joke about, Kanye West going crazy because of Kim Kardashian's sex tape. He has never gotten over it. And I made a comment like, we're not going to argue about Kim and Kanye, because people love to make it about that. But
wait, though, but that tape been out since before they got married. I'm confused.
So we led into a conversation where I was like, see, I have a problem with that statement, because I feel like we love to objectify women and we love to minimize women down to just like or even like distastefully come at women when they are liberated sexually, right? We love to make the problem with women, the problem with anyone in the world, when it comes to women and their sexual liberations, a part of the conversation, when in reality it should not be. And that was a prime example of, why would you even say that? Like, first of all, Kanye has never done anything but speak highly of Kim, to be honest. Like when it came to that sex tape, he's never addressed that sex tape in a negative way, derogatory way, or even made it seem like he had a problem with it. Now, a couple times he let his homies go into the booth and talk some stuff on a rap song. But what I'm getting at is that has never really been a public thing that he's made an issue with. And it also happened way before they got married. And I was offended because I'm always out here on this fight for women in terms of how men sometimes tend to demean us when it comes to you would never hear someone say that about a man who has a sex tape. Like that would have never come out of somebody's mouth. So I was offended by that. And we kind of went back and forth. Huh?
I think I might hear. I mean, I don't. You know me, and not generalizing. You know how I be. I think that somebody could say. I think. Okay, so the only part I'm talking about is maybe. So only thing I'm speaking to is maybe it does bother her to some degree that her man was out there swinging from chandeliers with somebody. I never seen the sex tape. Fun fact, honestly. So I don't know what they was doing. But I do think that I could see somebody saying that there was something that bothered them. Now, I don't understand that because you knew before you married.
Yeah, he knew.
So you knew this wasn't a secret.
For an outsider,
you find out later.
For an outsider to see that as in conversation and make that statement, that's really what it was for me. It was just a prime example about how we love to sex shame women sometimes, and it just was unnecessary. And that's all. Not to say that women wouldn't have a problem with their guy having a sex tape. I'm not trying to say that, but in that moment, I was like, that was a very irrelevant statement, and that you just had a reason to bring up Kim's sex tape. It was so irrelevant.
I think, if I may,
what?
I don't think it really had anything to do, and I could be wrong. I could be so off. I could be so off. I think his statements could have been directly coming from his feeling of for me. Right. Not necessarily that it has nothing to do with her, but if that was me, almost like if he was Kanye and that was Kim, he would have the problem. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's a you issue. That ain't got nothing to do with that. You have no factual basis on any of that. That sounds like a you issue. So
this is what we got into that conversation, and I addressed that, and that was one of the first times we definitely did not agree, but it didn't go left. But what I'm getting at is I just feel like I forget what made me bring this point up, but bottom line is he definitely had some things with him that I personally was just okay, I don't know if we're on the same page. You know what I mean? And I debated that, and it came up again towards the end in the conversation we had yesterday. You just don't let up when you. And I was just well, the other night versus our debate with Kim is just two different things, total two different things. I'm trying to understand why you're feeling uncomfortable about our sexual encounter, right? Our intimate encounter, whatever it was. And you're trying to bring up the fact that I was very pushy about you understanding how your comment was irrelevant. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
She's looking up, y'all. She's looking up. The thought fairies are coming down from the sky.
So I feel like there were keys and hints, and sometimes we miss them completely, and sometimes we catch them, like you said, you were seeing kind of things, but then you kind of let's just see, let's go past, right? And then finally it blows up. And I feel like a lot of time people in our conversations with people, in our communication with people, they give you this hint of things. And so I was having this conversation with this gentleman, and he was telling me about his ex-wife and how the relationship was, and this, that, and the other. And I was giving my views and whatnot. And I noticed that he kept saying, when I would say something, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, this, that, and the other. And in my mind, for me,
my cat is breaking stuff as we're speaking. Go ahead,
girl. So he kept saying, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, this, that, and the other. And I kept thinking to myself, why does this man keep telling me he's not trying to tell me what to do? So I was noted.
He so really then, tell you what to
do? No. So then he asked me about something, and he was like, my ex-wife always tried to tell me I was trying to parent her, this, that, and the other. There it is. I said, that's what it is. I said, that's why you do that. He said, what? I said, can I be very open and honest with you? He said, sure. I said, I noticed that in our conversation, you kept saying to me, oh, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, this, that, and the other. And now you're telling me that your wife used to call you, like, was like, well, don't parent me. Don't tell me this. Is like, you're acting like you're my parent. Sir, I would like to suggest that I think you have an issue that you're still healing from, where because your wife constantly told you that you were parenting her, now you deal with people in the sense of you always tell them, oh, well, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. So you're moving in a way, and that's what happens when we're having conversations with people, right? And our communication styles, and we haven't healed and we haven't done these things. We move in circles. We chase our tails because you're constantly living in the past of what you had with somebody else or whatever. That, I think it's crazy how we relate relationships to our own and make our partner's reactions personal to us. And it's not irrelevant. I kind of agree with the man. Wait, what?
Oh, okay. So I like this. So Craig Turner says, I think that's so, can we bring that back? I think that's so crazy how we relate relationships to our own and make our partner's reactions personal to us. Pause, right? Is that not irrelevant? I kind of agree with the man. So that's the conversation that came up with us. Like, we're not going to really sit here and argue about Kim and Kanye, are we? And where I feel like in this particular example, Craig, I totally agree with you that it could be irrelevant depending on the context of what we're arguing about. But in this scenario that we were talking about all the stuff that had been happening with Kanye. If you're not living underneath a rock, you might have seen a lot of the outbursts that he's been having. And we were like casually just like kind of like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, and the comment that was made was, yeah, he probably still hurt about his, he probably still dealing with emotions from his wife's sex tape. I get what you're saying, that saying that about Kanye and Kim should not be personal to me. But this is where kind of men fail to realize, when you are making a comment that is a sexist comment to a woman, it doesn't mean that your statement about Kim matters. It means that I'm getting a little insight into what you think about women. And that's when it does become personal. And I find that that's a struggle to kind of bring in front of men to help them understand. And the best case scenario or the best example that I have to really bring that home, if a comment that is a racist comment is said between you and let's say you're in a biracial relationship.
Yes.
And let's say that the white counterpart in that biracial relationship makes a comment that is borderline racist, yet it has nothing to do with your relationship. You're going to be like, wait, hold on, that's a little borderline racist. So I'm going to bring this home right quick. When you're talking to a woman as a man and you make a sexist comment, Kim and Kanye's relationship is not relevant. But when I'm hearing the sexism in the conversation, it becomes relevant to me. Does that make sense at all?
Yes, because of so that's what I was saying. The aspect that I see a piece of you in that.
Exactly. And I know I said this already, but I want to drill this home. The conversations between Black men and women, when it comes to sexist conversations, I really want Black men to understand this. Imagine yourself in a biracial situation and your white counterpart is making racist statements. Put yourself in the shoes of a woman who's dealing with sexism every single day. That's the only way that you would ever understand why, in that context, it does become about us. The fairies are coming down. So I don't know. And that's all I'm saying. Like, I mean, if we were talking about a non-sexist situation, like, it wouldn't have mattered. You know what I mean? If you were just like, yo, did you hear about Beyonce and Jay-Z bought Beyonce an island? Like, and we got into a debate about that, and I was just, and it caused issues between us. Like, who the F cares, right? You get what I'm saying? Like, but I think in that context, it showed me a piece of him, and that made me question. And I wasn't even ready to leave him alone, but it was just like, I started to ask certain questions,
in the back of the head. Noted. It's one of those like.
So relationship gumbo stuff is not popping up, and it's troublesome because he's saying some good stuff, and now he's like going zip. I'm trying to figure out why he's going zip. Anyway. Oh, he said it always comes from a place.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes what people are trying to get to when things come up, the triggers, if you will. When we want to open that box a little bit and ask questions, it's not that I care about Kim and Kanye. I'm trying to understand you.
Yes.
And where that's coming from, that you felt the need to say that. And
yes.
like that comment, it always comes from a place. And I truly believe that. I'm not going to judge you for it, but I'm just trying to understand more.
Yes. No. And that's what I was saying, is that it comes from a place. It comes from a trigger. I'm a little more long-winded. I'm kind of like old head. I'll be a little long-winded with mine. But it comes from a place. It shows me a piece of you. And so for me, that's them. Noted. Let me write that in the back of my head, because I might have to revisit that topic later. So yeah, nah. So what is your communication style, Miss Lady?
What's my communication style?
Or what do you feel it is?
Huh?
Or what do you feel it is?
Oh my gosh. So I was just, can we find out, Mike, why relationship gumbo is not popping up on the screen?
Somebody else asked me about that. They were like certain comments, they're delayed or they don't come up, and I was like, I don't know, I don't control that.
Yeah, his isn't coming up. Oh wait, now it is. It wasn't coming up at first, but now he is. I see it slightly different, but he said I'm not going to debate the old boy did. Like the old boy. He said that earlier. I wouldn't have even debated that conversation with you. See, and that reminds me of your statement earlier where it's like, don't just agree with me because you agree with me. Like, let's get into these conversations, because it doesn't mean that this is my communication style. Let me answer your question, right? I am head on. I need to understand. I am going to have some patience when I understand why it's needed, right? When you communicate to me that you need time, you need space, right? In a manner to which, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's something I can, you give me the opportunity to respect it, right? Like, bam, like I can totally do that. But I'll be very honest. I'm kind of like, I don't want to go to sleep mad.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to sleep confused. I don't want to go to sleep still questioning stuff about life, right? And you and I sent an email, a Facebook message to my vice president of my company, who is the boss of my boss, when we were struggling and I first moved into this particular role. Now, granted, I have a professional relationship with the VP because of the role that I was in prior. So it's not like I didn't know her, right?
Yeah.
Like I knew her from the office at a seat away or two, right? But what I'm getting at is I sent a Sunday afternoon, it was Easter, Facebook message to my VP because something was troubling me so hardcore in this new role that I had moved into a couple years ago, right? It was getting so bad to the point where I was coming home crying every single night. Oh. There was no resolve, right? That it was Sunday, Easter Sunday. I sent her a Facebook message like, can we talk on Monday? That's the type of communicator that I am. Like, I have to get it out, and I need understanding, and the patience can come, but we have to be at a space where you've communicated that to me, and now I'm like, all right, cool, bet. Let me go ahead and you get what I'm not saying that if you tell me let's talk in a couple of days, I would be like, oh hell no.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's I need you to tell me. I need you to communicate. So if he would have said to you, hey, I need some time to kind of like take this all in, because something felt off, or I didn't like the way things ended.
Yes.
Can you give me some time and then we can come back to this? You would have been okay.
I would have trusted that. What I didn't trust is we hung up that call. He was like, you still coming on Saturday for burgers? I said, I'm still coming on. Like, remember I told you it was awkward energy? It was awkward energy. And he ended the call with, you still coming on Saturday for burgers? I said, I'm coming on Saturday for burgers. All right, good night. Good night. Did not call me the rest of the day. And then that's the text I got. That's problematic for me because that's not honesty. That's not honesty. And that's when that's why I was like, I'll give you all the space you need. And now you're blocked because I don't believe that that's honesty. And that's where I'm at with it, right? I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Yes.
And I actually communicate that in the beginning. I communicate all my triggers in the beginning. Hence, I told you my dating site says, Let's see what page we are on with Lizzo and Kevin Samuels. I need to talk about feminism and I need to talk about sizeism. You don't have to agree, but I need to see where you are with it, because that is something that I've had to deal with in life, right? I present that in the very beginning. We have conversations about it, and I expect for folks to, I'll pause if you want to read that.
Like, different perspective. If it were I, that statement would be, because I know how a lot of men think. So might be thinking about the tape. He might be thinking about the tape, not necessarily my personal views.
Right.
Sheesh. Good. Okay.
Craig Turner.
Girl, go ahead.
It makes sense to how you internalize it. However, I think general conversations, to stay general at the moment you take a external issue into your own, that's unfair to the partner because you have triggers. It is not dismissive to how it's a possibility that Kanye could feel the way, or because you're a woman, you're defensive to the woman's perspective. I totally agree. And I'll say to Craig's statement what I said to the gentleman who kind of said something like that to me.
Oh.
The Jay-Z Kanye West breakup was very public. Kanye West has never publicly talked about Kim's sex tape in a negative way. But the Jay-Z Kanye West breakup was very public. I think it's very interesting that men don't choose that he didn't choose to bring that up as far as why Kanye is going through his BS versus, oh, it must be Kim's sex tape. You could bring that up all day, but like the reality of it is, we do have certain bias against women. I think that exists even in that conversation. Go ahead, Lady J.
Squirrel. I don't know. I still kind of feel like, I don't know if it's sexism, sizeism, racism. For me, I feel like, as Relationship Gumbo said, for me, I feel like it came from a place. I feel like he spoke from a place of, like, I feel like he was saying a feeling that he quite possibly could have had. I absolutely don't think that you're supposed to bring your triggers onto another person. And that is why when I feel that I'm triggered, because I'm not going to just come out and be like, okay, so this triggers me, this triggers me, this triggers. Like, if we're talking and we're getting to know each other, you'll know most of my triggers. Now, if you spark one that I haven't had conversation with you about, I will pause. I'm not just going to jump on you and be like, because now I'm triggered. I'm gonna say, okay, so I'd like to let you know that that's a trigger for me, because of this relationship or this situation or this or that, the third that's happened to me. This is my trigger. I'm working on it. That's not your fault, but I want you to know what triggers me, because if you know what triggers me, you know how to deal with me. Right. So I feel like, in some way, that came from a place, because you're saying that it was.
Well, I did. Honestly, I have made it a vow, like the check marks we talked about. I want to marry a feminist like me. Huh? I want to marry a feminist. So if it's a trigger, then that's I don't know if it necessarily.
That's not somebody for you, I would assume.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, I think that's what I'm getting at. Like,
but that's okay though.
I don't run for those conversations, because I think the conversation is not problematic. I think it helps me realize where you are. And I'll walk away from someone who's not in the same place about those things, because that's important to me. And I've established that. Like, I want to marry a feminist man who understands why that was a BS comment. Like, you get what I mean? And I'm okay with that.
I mean, if you're okay and if that's you and you're loving that in your skin, that's you. And I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that, oh, girl, you wrong, you this, you that. For me, I feel like it was just his trigger. Like, I feel like it was a trigger for him, but I feel like it was, for me, I feel like it came from a place somewhere within him that it would be something that would bother him, because there was no factual.
Oh, yeah, because I asked him, I said, so you wouldn't date a girl who has a sex tape? He was like, no, absolutely not.
So see,
I was like, well, you might as well not date me then, because I'm sure I done recorded something 20 years ago.
Bring it down.
Okay. Craig wants to come on. Do we have time for Craig to come on?
Would you like to? We don't actually. We're getting ready. It's not going to be long enough. Invite me to personal. What do you say? Situation. We are running short of time. Not that I don't want to let you in, Turner. It's not that. We are running short on time. And so that's why I went to Crystle asking her communication style.
Okay, I'm sorry. So
no,
wrapping
you're
that piece
good.
up though, because I want to ask you that too before we go. But wrapping that piece up, I'm direct. I need to talk about it now. But also, I do feel like I have levels of patience and understanding. If I'm in a position to where you have allowed me that opportunity to even pause and think myself, right? So now it's you, Lady J. What's your communication style?
I have learned to be very, very direct, like ridiculously direct. Like sometimes I don't know if it's healthy. I told somebody today, or I tell people all the time, that I don't think that I'm everybody's cup of tea, and I think that I might end up like an old cat lady, because I'm not, and I'm allergic to cats. That's the worst part, though, because I am very direct. I'm very like upfront, and I let you know. I do absolutely love to have the conversation, more immediately if possible, but
Right.
I have learned over time how to communicate differently, I guess, how to allow people to, and then I think I look at it from so many different angles. Like that's why I was like, well, maybe there's this, maybe there's that, because a lot of times, so something that I noticed in my last, transitional situation was that we had come to a space of communicating where we were having miscommunications, but didn't know why.
Right.
I would say something, he would say something, and then we would get into this big heated argument. And then we'll come back and be like, why though? And so I've learned to stop, take a step back and look at it from a lot of different angles, just in case. And that's why I say when I communicate with people, I very much will take the blame and say, okay, not necessarily the blame, but I'll just be that person that says, okay, so maybe I misunderstood what you were saying. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page and we have clarity. So I am very direct, and I absolutely let people know where I'm at, what I want, how I like it, this, that, third. I'm very open and clear about, hey, these are some things that do trigger me. These are some things that bother me. I do like to listen and hear what a person is saying. And as I said, I ask a whole lot of questions because I want clarity. I want us to be on the same page. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't like to go to bed angry either. I hate not understanding something. Like it makes me crazy. Like I need to know, okay, just say exactly. Like let's not use like jokes and puns and all that. Like I don't like to read between the lines, okay? Because sometimes you read, like, listen, y'all seen, I can't even see on this screen, okay? I can't see a screen because I ain't got my glasses on. Sometimes I don't have my glasses on, so I don't want to read between no lines. I just need you to say what you feel, mean what you say, and say what you mean. Be that. That's what I need.
Right.
And so that's just kind of how I am. I could be very understanding. I don't flip tables just for no reason, okay? If I'm ready to flip a table, you really took me to another spot, okay? But that's just kind of how I am.
That reminded me of Taylor Swift. Blank Space. Listen to it.
Blank Space. Okay.
Blank Space. Listen to it.
Y'all remind me later. One of my moderators. Y'all remind me. Blank Space. Okay. Because y'all know I'm forget. Y'all know squirrel. Y'all know I'm forget.
I think I might play that tonight and just jump on my couch with wine.
You got this. I
definitely got this.
I know, but it's not. It still is. Like really.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad, to be honest. I have a major purchase, and I know we're about to wrap up, so we might want to give our handles. But I have a major purchase that I want to make this year. I'm working on my first home purchase, but it's going to be a fourplex. It's going to be a fourplex. My first home purchase. I'm going all the way in. It's also going to be a investment piece. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm meant to be focused on this. I'm gonna have 10 doors in the next 5 years. So forget these guys that aren't working out. I'm gonna be honest. So go ahead and give your handle, Lady J, because I know we're pretty much at the end.
So, Miss Crystle, where can we find you?
Hey, so follow me on IG. My thoughts could be a blog. I know it's a little long, but you know what? Work with me here, right? I have opportunity to rebrand in 5 years, but it is what it is. My thoughts could be a blog. You can also go to mythoughtscouldbeablog.com, which launched on February 2, 2022. Lucky numbers there.
DMT.
So yeah, follow me everywhere, Instagram, and check out the website. And also, I'm on Twitter. I am Crystle D.
Oh, that's right. You did say you're moving to Twitter.
Huh?
I said you did say you're moving to Twitter.
Yeah, I started Twitter. It's a new space. It's an interesting space. I'm trying to find my way there, but follow me and join the conversation.
Okay, all right. And y'all know, y'all know where I'll be at. Where I'm at all the time, TikTok. Y'all can find me on TikTok as Lady J1111. TikTok runs my brain. I also have the Facebook business page, which is Facebook Jay's Decadent Delights. My Instagram page for the business is Jay's underscore decadence underscore delights. And then I do have my regular Instagram, which I always forget to say because I'm hardly on there, Ladyman 2008. And I have a YouTube. Y'all go follow me on YouTube, please. I'm trying to get my YouTube views up. Could y'all follow me on YouTube? I'm Lady J on there. Also, absolutely, please make sure you follow, like, subscribe, hit the notification button for all things Blurred Approved Entertainment. We got stuff going on like all week long, y'all. We got gaming stuff. We got the No Show, the After Dark Show, y'all. That's on Tuesdays. Y'all might want to get in on that. We got that. We got all kinds of stuff. So make sure you follow all of us. We appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for joining us this evening. And you know what, y'all? Bring it around, Tim. See y'all next Friday.
I'm braless again today, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Bring it around. Bring it on. Have a good night, y'all. Thank you.
Bye.
Sensational.
Braless Fridays.